Hey everybody at home, welcome to the Screaming Tuna gift box. Happy holidays. My name is Christian. I'm one of the owners of Screaming Tuna Sushi in Wisconsin with my old friend Chef Jason Morimoto. We wanted to give you guys a little introduction to the people behind the scenes before we get you started in the kitchen, give you a little appreciation for sushi and the path to starting. So tell us about your path.
All right. So my beginnings for sushi started my late teens. I'm self-taught, and after almost nearly a decade of doing sushi on my own and learning on my own, I started working for Screaming Tuna. And then from there, I've been there since the beginning, basically ever since, and we're now here in Mequon. So it's been a long journey, but it's been a long, hard journey. So hopefully this video will demonstrate what it takes to make this happen, to make all the sushi happen, all the work behind it, but we'll make it easy for you guys.
Traditionally speaking, if we're in Japan per se, how long is that journey?
It takes a very long time. In a traditional sense, if you wanted to start working in sushi, you're not going to go there and start making sushi. Sushi means, it could mean something different in Japan. Here, we mainly focus on rolling, and the nigiri, and the sashimi. In Japan, minimal rolls, more nigiri, more sashimi, but the whole process of getting into just making it can take years. And it always starts with rice. Rice is one of the most important factors. It is the definition of sushi. It is seasoned rice. And just the whole process of making it, learning how rice changes throughout the year, takes years to learn, to know how to properly make sushi rice. So it could take a very long time. In Japan, you're talking, 3, 4, 5, 7 years before you can even step behind the counter here and start rolling or start doing anything with fish, or even cutting.
So we know you don't have that kind of time of years. We're going to take a couple shortcuts, forgive us, and get you started immediately. So, you ready to do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey guys, we're here in the test kitchen of the Mequon Public Market. We have one more guest joining us. This is my wife, Carissa. She's begrudgingly here today to show that anybody can do this, not just a sushi pro and then someone who's halfway decent. We want to show how easy it is to do it right out of the box. He's got a great setup in the sushi bar, but you're going to be able to do it just by opening it up. So let's dive in.
Let's run through the contents real quick. So in your box, you're going to have some nice complimentary chopsticks for eating purposes. You're going to have your rolling mat. It's going to be already wrapped up in plastic. You're going to have a couple bags. One of them is going to have your nori, or your seaweed for your rolls. We're going to make 4 rolls, but you're going to have 5 sheets just in case one of them breaks. They're very delicate, and so there's a chance that it might crack or break. So you're going to have your rice, and the rice will already be prepared and seasoned. You're going to get some wasabi and ginger, some sesame seeds, which you can keep close by. Everything else you can kind of set off to the side. We have spicy salmon prepared. We're going to have a couple of paper containers. It's going to have some tuna for the wasabi tuna, and wasabi mayonnaise for the wasabi tuna. Next box, or next container, is going to have crab sticks, or kanikama. That's for your California roll.
And for the gluten-free diners, I'll be working with King Crab California.
The spicy salmon is gluten-free. The cucumbers will go with One, you'll have 2 cucumbers. One of them is going to go with your California roll. One of them is going to go with your mango roll. And one of the other bags is going to contain your asparagus. So that will go with your mango roll as well.
So everything is color coded for ease.
So we have your cucumbers, mango salsa. You have an avocado. This should be plenty for all your rolls. And soy sauce, which we can keep by the wasabi ginger for eating. And a spoon, in case you need a spoon.
So my rolling mat does not have plastic wrap, just as a cautionary tale of what happens when you don't use plastic wrap. Jason, what happens?
It just sticks.
Yeah, sticky rice everywhere.
It's also going to stick to your hands unless you keep your hands wet. So right here, we have a bowl of water that we're going to use for moistening the knife while we cut to prevent the rice and the roll from sticking to the blade. If you have gloves, wear some clean gloves, and or if you don't have gloves, you're just going to have to continually maintain your hands to stay kind of moist with this with your bowl of water. Otherwise, if you have gloves, you can just rub a little bit, just dab a little bit of oil, just vegetable oil on your gloves, and then you're not going to have to worry for the remainder of this sushi rolling class.
Carrie, would you like some?
All you need is just a little dab, roll it on, wipe it off.
So then, of course, you'll have your cutting board, your knife. These two are working with sushi knives because the rest of you most likely don't have a sushi knife. I just brought the sharpest knife from my home. Of course, be very careful when you're doing this. Jason,
Yes.
is that a pretty good knife you got?
Yep. So I got my standard sushi knife. It's about 11 inches, so it's unnecessary. You don't need a long blade to just make sushi at home, especially just rolls. Any knife will do. I can make sushi with this little knife if I had to. So. As long as it's sharp. So, all right. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. All right. So the first roll we're gonna make is a spicy salmon. So what you're gonna do? Open up your rice. And the amount of rice that you're going to take, we're just going to fill up this whole sheet. You're going to see on the sheet of nori, there's one side that's shiny, and then one side that's got a rough texture to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply the rice to the rough side. It doesn't really matter, rice is going to stick to it either way. Traditionally speaking, you would always put rice on the rough side. And you'll see on the sheet that there's a few lines, imprints, on here, so we're going to use those as guides as we go. So to start, put your you can use your rolling mats. You could put it on like this. I will not do that, and I will show you how to just do it on the board. Just fine. No, you keep it on the board. Okay, so then you're going to grab your rice. The amount of rice you're going to want to grab is the size of a lemon. So just loosely grab the amount of a lemon. Perfect. And then what you're going to do is you're looking at your sheet. There's going to be the imprint of a line halfway down the sheet of nori. You're going to put it above that line in the top right corner. And then what you're going to use your hands, this hand is going to control the rice to stay within this line, these 2 lines right here. So we're just going to fill up this portion right here. This hand is going to move the rice over. This hand is just going to control where the rice goes. So you're just going to kind of push, squeeze, push, and squeeze. Very lightly. This whole process should be done very lightly. There's going to be a lot of pressing, a lot of rolling, forming. So the lesser you press, the better it's going to feel when you're done, when you're eating it. It won't feel so compact.
I will say, as someone who's still working on his sushi craft, when I first started, the 2 most difficult things for me were spreading the rice without touching it 50 times, and then cutting was my...
Yes. Yeah. All that just takes some time, yeah. The whole cutting of it without mashing it, as you guys will see. So, if we look over here, you did good. But initially, you were having a hard time just kind of filling it in.
Yeah.
What you can do is you can always just take off and move. Take off and move if you're having a hard time. But it's basically...
Taste.
Yeah. Yep, but basically all you want to do is just fill up that half sheet before you fill it in. So now that we have our half sheet full, keep your rice covered actually.
Yep.
It'll prevent it from getting dry and cold.
And dry and cold rice is much harder to spread.
Much harder to work with, yes. So now what you're going to do is you're going to use all 8 fingertips, almost like just the pads of your fingers, and you're going to dip the fingertips in and kind of just bring the rice downward using the pads of your fingers. So go in towards the top, bring your fingers into it, press in a little bit, and just slowly push it down. Using like a rocking motion with just the pads of your fingers.
I mean, from all the way over here, it doesn't look that bad.
It doesn't look bad. It's an awkward technique for sure to deal with rice, but it becomes easier by the time you get to roll number 4, it'll probably be a lot easier.
We'll see about that.
I guess. So it looks good. You can also just, if you notice there's any gaps around the edges, just, move the rice around, press it down. It's always easier to add rice than it is to take away rice. So if you didn't use enough rice, just take a little more, put it in there.
How do you know that you use enough rice? Do you want to
Yeah, if you notice, there's like lighter areas where you can see the nori, coming through. You didn't use enough rice. You can just use a little more, split a little more.
So just a thin layer?
Just a thin layer, yeah.
Do you need it to the edges? Probably.
For the video, yeah.
Okay.
And Jason, what happens when we put our rice on, but then we let it sit for too long?
So as soon as the nori, the seaweed sees moisture, it's going to start just shrinking. So it is kind of like you only have a certain amount of time before you can successfully roll a sushi roll. So you want to do this fast, start it faster. You don't want to let roll this and then walk away, because this is going to shrink, and by the time you put your fillings in there and try to roll it, it's going to be very difficult. All right. So our first roll we'll do is the spicy salmon. So grab your spicy salmons.
Flip it over.
Yep, flip it over. So flip it over. We're going to be putting the ingredients on the inside so that the rice is on the outside.
What is in our spicy salmon mix?
So our spicy salmon has chili oil, a little sriracha, some roasted garlic, green onions, and there's a gluten-free panko in here to help bind it so that it's not this oily, difficult mess to work with. So the gluten-free panko is going to help dry it out a little bit, make it a little easier.
And you do both?
Do both, yep.
Right in the middle?
Yeah, and then you're just going to kind of spread it out from end to end. What you want is you want the ingredients to be centered, but maybe a little closer to you. You want to give yourself enough space in the front of the roll.
And it doesn't have to be overflowing over the sides, because I find that there's a decent chance when you're rolling it, it'll pop out of the side a little bit. So
yep, especially if the ingredients are like this, where they're a little oily, the chance of them coming out the sides is great.
So up, getting close to that edge.
Yep, getting close. Okay, so now there's a couple ways of doing this. I will show you what I think is the easiest way. So the easiest way, I believe, is to just use your hands and just roll it over. If you don't want to do that, you can put it on the mat like that, and then bring the nori sheet closer to the edge of the rolling mat, leaving about a finger width here, and then rolling it like this. So you could do this, and what you'll do here is you'll just bring it over until the edge of the mat is flush with the surface of the nori. And if you can see the nori, by the time you roll it over, you know it's going to be sealed, like that. So if you roll it over one more time, it'll be sealed.
Oh my goodness. My rice is to the board. Now you're kind of wet before? Still a little wet?
Just yeah. All right. So the other way to have done that would to not use the mat and just roll it over by hand. Sometimes I feel like if you feel it, like how Christian's doing,
So I kind of start from the corner. I don't do it all at once, and then I work to the other side. Tuck it in the same amount as if you were using the rolling mat, and then I move on to my rolling mat.
All right. All right. If you notice that the rice is sticking to your board, just maybe grab a little bit of your water, moisten the surface of the board. It'll prevent it from sticking. Okay. So then that is the rolled portion. If you notice that your roll is maybe a little misshapen, like triangular or flattened, take your mat with the roll directly on the board. Just drape your rolling mat over it.
And it doesn't matter which side.
Use the green side. Yep. This
Okay.
way.
Is her
Green
roll
side
closed
down.
yet, though?
I believe. It is.
It is.
Oh. A little bit. So we got a little bit. Here, we'll troubleshoot this one. So if you notice that your roll didn't seal, just go back. Maybe take a look at where it's not sealed and just tuck it in with your hand a little more. And that should be good. And then once we form it, it'll fully seal it.
And you want green side down.
Green side down, yes. So you have one side that's got tape. You keep that up.
Tape up.
Tape up. Yep. Okay. So now to shape the roll, a good way to kind of gauge what it looks like is from the side. So if you look at it from the side, what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze gently on the sides, not so much on the top. You're going to squeeze on the sides, kind of tuck in the ends. By pressing on the sides, it's going to straighten out the sides, and it's also going to give it a little bit of height. It's going to make the roll look a little taller, not so flat. So squeezing it, tuck in your sides, move, and then shift over your mat to the other side. And you can do the same thing, squeeze gently, tuck in the sides, like that.
And you squeeze all the way down.
Yep. Yep, that's good. So you can see here, Carissa got, even though it's sticking to this.
Should I put a little oil on it?
You can see Carissa's rolling up, coming out, straight-sided, a little rounded on top, straight-sided, and then, flat on the bottom. So flat on the bottom, straight sides, rounded on top. That's what you're looking for. And then we're just going to sprinkle some of the seeds, sesame seeds if you want. Just sprinkle some of that right on top.
However much you'd like.
However much you like. If you don't want it, don't use it. If you get seeds on your board, just pick them up with the roll.
Oh, I like that.
All right.
All right.
Okay, now we'll get to cutting. So with cutting, what you're first going to want to do is you're going to want to gauge what is halfway, for the sake of just what it looks like. Cutting it evenly just looks better. It's easy for this to just be cut all uneven, and then it looks all uneven once it's plated. So for me, my hands, if I were to put my hands together, it is almost exactly the same size as this sheet of Nord. Basically from, knuckle to knuckle, both hands. So halfway would be right there.
Carissa's got a little smaller hand, so she'll need a different system, but the hand system works for me as well.
Yeah. Even if your hands are smaller, just, if they're like here, you can see where the center is in between your hands too. So if you were to put both your hands in between your thumbs. Perfect. So then what you'll do, dip the blade in the water and let the water just run down the edge of the blade. It's going to make it easier to slide through. All right.
I'm going to go straight in.
Yep.
Very carefully.
Without pushing downward, what you're going to do first is we're going to use the entire length of the blade. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the heel of the blade. And we're just going to just pull it. You'll cut through it, but don't push down. But you'll you'll cut right through it, and then move forward to finish off the cut. So there, right there, there was no pushing. Obviously, that's the beauty of a long blade. That would be the beauty of that, is being able to just pull through it. But with Christian's smaller knife, it might just take, 1, 2, 3 strokes to get through it.
About 3 strokes, but it still worked pretty well for just a normal kitchen knife.
Good. There you go. Okay, so now what we're going to do, so we had our roll, we cut it right down the middle. You have your ends and then you have your middles. Keep your ends with the ends and the middle with the middle, like that. Let's not put it like this, where if it were an event where the sides were uneven, maybe you'll understand as we get closer to the rolls with cucumber and stuff. This one not so much, but it will look better if you keep your flat ends and then your ends of the rolls together.
Butt to butt.
Butt to butt. Alright, so now again, we're going to do that, and now we're going to cut this into thirds. So there's no magical way of gauging this with your hands or anything other than just kind of knowing and seeing it. So we'll say that's 1/3, and then we're going to cut again, and that'll be the second. So here, wet your blade, and you're just going to pull through without pushing down. If you push down, you're just going to mash the roll. You can just do that. And we'll demonstrate with a small knife too. So just pull through until you get through.
And your first time, it may be difficult, especially chopping through twice the amount
Yes.
of sushi.
Yes. So now you're cutting through 2 rolls basically. Okay. And so.
My sizes are a little off.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. So now for plating, what we're gonna do is we have our 3 pieces like this. You have the butt ends of the rolls. We'll prop that right in the middle, and then we'll take our 2, and then we'll prop those around the butt end. Good.
This is squished
Good.
down a little bit.
Very good.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's still good.
All right. And that is a completed spicy salmon roll. Good job, guys. All right, clean up your area for the next one. Maybe moisten your wooden board a little bit.
Dirty sushi area is a pet peeve.
Yes.
So spicy salmon, truly the easiest one today, because while there are a lot of ingredients in the mix, it's just one ingredient for you right out there. Now we're gonna up the ante a little bit.
Yep. So now we're gonna open up an avocado.
Okay.
So first, what I do is I just cut off that little, the stem part. And then at this point, you'll see whether or not your avocado is green or brown. That's garbage. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna ride the knife into it. You can do this on the board if you want, like this, or you can do it in your hand if you feel confident enough.
Very carefully.
Very carefully.
Oh, just like that.
Just twist it. Yes. And then while your avocado is on the board, just give it a little tap into the seed. You can twist it right up, like that.
I just scoop mine out because I'm not fancy.
All right. And now we'll keep this off to the side. What we're gonna do is now we're gonna basically cut this in half. We're gonna have a 1/4 of an avocado.
Long way.
Yep. And then we'll just peel it off. So I just grab the skin and just kind of take it off. And what I do is I cut one quarter of an avocado into 3 pieces. So a 1/4 of an avocado is what's going to go inside of the roll. So I will cut it into 3 pieces like that. Just slice using the tip of the knife, just the very tip of the knife, run through it like that. However you want to do it. You can cut straight down. This is how I do it. Put that off to the side. Clean your board. Okay. And then you have your tuna. So we'll take that out.
What color is that one?
The other one is your pink. Your pink paper container.
What kind of tuna is this?
So this is a yellowfin tuna from Hawaii.
If anybody's ever bragging about serving bluefin tuna, there's nothing cool about that.
Unfortunately.
Bluefin tuna is going extinct unless we decrease our consumption of it. So yellowfin tuna is a sustainable option, just like all the seafood that we serve.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. So next roll, grab your
Shiny
sheet.
side down.
Shiny side down.
Lemon side. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Start at the top right.
Top right. And then you're just gonna move it to one side. You're gonna fill half of the sheet, moving it to one side. You may find that if you're left-handed, maybe it's a little easier to go the other way by putting it on this side and then going this way. I find this is easiest as a right-handed to go this way, but some left-handed people might say the exact same thing as well.
That was a little easier the second time. Okay.
There you go.
Progress.
And then just gently bring the rice to the bottom edge of the nori. Not pressing too much.
It's pretty common for beginners to probably use what we would consider maybe too much rice, but then you'll just have a bigger roll.
Just have a bigger roll.
Nothing wrong with
Nothing
that.
wrong with more rice. A step you could do at this point is you could seed at this point if you really wanted to. You could just apply your seeds now. I tend to skip this step until I'm done, just because I don't want seeds all over my other ingredients. But easy pickup.
Let's take a look at this.
I'm filling in my holes. Okay.
It's easy to get lost in being a perfectionist when it comes to getting that
Just
rice.
keep it moving. Okay.
No, take your time.
Good.
Make sure that you cover the rice again.
Yep. Keep your rice covered.
What's my order again? Okay.
Yes. You notice your board is getting a little sticky. Put a little water down. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll put our tuna down. So the tuna's cut to fit. And then what you'll do is you'll grab your avocado and you'll put it behind the tuna. It's going to be easier to roll if you put the avocado behind the tuna.
Is that behind or in front of for you?
Right. Technically this would be behind, but I guess it could be in front as well. So as long as it looks like this.
Okay.
And the avocado, the outside avocado is facing the outside of the roll.
Yeah.
Or does it matter?
It'll work either way, but it might be easier if it's, because it wants to slide this way. Yeah. So if the avocado was on this side, it would want to slide out of the roll.
Yeah.
This way you're going to be able to control the fact that it's not going to want to slide past the tuna.
And it's overlapping?
Overlap, yep, just kind of shingle it on there.
Okay.
And then same thing, just roll it. You can use the mat. With avocado, I tend to just use my hands because I want to be able to feel if the avocado is moving out of place like that.
I mean, I can just tuck it in.
Yep. So just bring the rice over slowly, just until it reaches the other side of the nori, and you should be able to still see nori. If you can still see nori, then you know it's going to be a sealed roll.
You don't want to see avocado slipping out. Give it
Right.
a little tuck if you need to.
Yep. So as long as you can see that nori, your next roll will be a seal. Well. So this is also, like if we were to let the nori sit any longer, it would shrink to the point where it'd be very difficult for this roll to be successfully sealed. Right? So then fully roll it over, and then shape it. We're gonna shape it again. So drape your rolling mat over it, while right at the edge of the roll here, squeeze the side gently, not so much that the avocado wants to come out, and then you're just gonna straighten this side out while pressing the sides. Same thing on the other side. If you have avocado hanging out, just kind of push it back in there. Avocado will go back in. Alright, so then you have a flat bottom, straight sides, and a slightly rounded off top.
And where's the seam?
Seam is at the bottom. Cool.
And if you didn't put the seeds on,
If you did,
first,
yep,
you can just
yep.
sprinkle one on.
This would be the time, if you didn't put the seeds on, this would be the time to do it. Okay, so now we'll cut. So again, wet the blade, let the water run down the edge of the blade, calculate halfway point, cut.
Wait,
Yep,
pull
pull.
this way.
Yeah, that's it. So when you pull, it doesn't push downward.
And of course, you're trying as straight, perpendicular cut as possible.
Yep.
If it's crooked, so be it. But then when you
Then
plate it,
you'll see it when it's plated, yeah.
I've seen some rolls look like skyscrapers or mountains.
Alright, and then thirds. So again, there's no easy way to calculate thirds other than just visually just looking at it right at it.
And our hope is by your third and fourth roll, you really get the hang of the visual. You can see that progression.
And then again with properly setting the roll up. So it was like this. The ends of the rolls were here. We're going to put that in the middle and we're going to prop the other sides around it. Roll number 2.
So for the wasabi tuna, if we were in the restaurant, we'd be putting masago on top. What is masago?
Masago is a smelt roe. So tiny little eggs from the smelt fish. And we would normally just kind of brush it right on there and then put the wasabi mayonnaise on. But for you guys, we're just going to do the mayonnaise. So here's where the spoon will come in. You can just add a little dollop to each roll or each piece of the roll.
And don't let wasabi mayo scare you if you're intimidated by wasabi. It's a light infusion. It's not going to overpower this by any means. While Jason is just about the best roller I've ever met, my forte is plating in fun ways.
Yes.
So you can wait until you're done, but let the creative side shine.
Yeah.
That looks good. Okay,
Great. Very nice.
so the mayo is that was just for that one.
Just for that roll. So that should hopefully be just enough mayonnaise in that 2-ounce container to just be able to put on there.
Feeling good.
Yeah, this is good.
You getting better, Carissa?
Her rolls look great. Her rolls look great.
Yeah.
They look very good.
Jason, this time don't help her at all.
All right. You're on
I
your
got
own.
this. I got this.
So now we're getting into the more difficult rolls, the more intermediate rolls. We're talking 3 ingredients now, as opposed to 1 or 2. Now we're jumping into 3 ingredients. So now we have to be more mindful of the amount that we're going to be putting in, the amount of time that you're going to be spending on doing the whole process of just getting everything ready to roll. So we want to do this as quickly as possible because we want as much space as possible to do this with. All right, so what I would do, first before we put anything on this, we're gonna get all of our ingredients ready. So you have a container of cucumber.
Is this the orange one?
The orange, sorry, yes, the orange.
We are working on the California, or for gluten-free diners, King Crab California.
Correct. So Christian here is doing the King Crab Cali, and Chris and I will be doing the regular California. So yes, the orange one will contain 2 crab sticks. You have your nest cucumber, and we'll prep our avocado as well.
And instead of 2 pieces of crab stick, I have actual king crab.
Yeah. And Christian, describe what the importance is, or the most important aspect of safely rolling this.
So you want to take your time because more than just about anything else, you have to be careful with bones and shells.
The shells and like the tendon and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I take the time to really feel the pieces.
Yeah, as you kind of maybe break the king crab down, you'll feel little bits of shell, little bits of the tendon and stuff like that in there as well.
Okay, what
So
do you
we'll
do
do our
if
best.
Avocado doesn't come out. Like it's
I'm not supposed to help you.
even if it's sticking to the
You can audibly help her, but don't put your hands on
Success.
the roll.
Success. You got it.
I mean, if it does stick though, is it a problem? Like you
If it
should-
sticks, you don't have to do this by hand. You could, if you have like a spoon, just use a metal spoon. You can just, this whole half of an avocado, you can just take a spoon and peel it right out.
Okay.
And then it'll be easier. You feel if there was any
So you do want it to be
tight
whole.
spots. Whole-ish. It'll just be easier to roll if you have some nice pieces instead of little pieces. Alright, so then we'll cut our avocado into thirds.
I like this, prepping these ingredients now this way.
This way we won't have to worry about shrunken nori. And then I'll straighten out my cucumber here.
Like cucumbers for my avocados. Pieces.
Unwrap so your crab sticks will have just an individual wrapping, so you can just remove those you can just literally just pinch it and just pull it off, or it actually unwraps as well. So, garbage. All right, so we have our ingredients ready.
I'm not going to say it's proper, but I do a little like push out of its wrapper
I got it.
if you can't unwrap
I
it.
got it. Okay.
It's much easier to do without gloves.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's get our rice on, and then we'll. Then I'll talk about the order in which the ingredients should go on.
I forget. Shiny side up. or
Shiny
down?
side down.
Down.
Yep.
Okay. Bumpy side up.
So grab your rice.
Okay.
So even now, our rice is getting a little cool, so it's getting a little more firm, it's getting a little more difficult to work with. So this whole process, even by now, hopefully you guys are still keeping up with us, so that you're not dealing with cold rice, or too cold of rice.
Now, the good thing is, though, we probably prepared this rice, put it in these containers 2 hours ago.
That's true.
And it's still holding up pretty well. Hopefully, you pick yours up, you get your home in an hour at the longest. Maybe you live closer.
Yeah.
So you should be good.
I mean, another thing you could do is if you can't get to it right away, this container, you can microwave it for like a minute until it starts to warm up a little bit. Microwaving it is fine.
And if you've ever had the displeasure of, let's say, grocery store sushi, because some people think they get it out of the cooler, the rice is supposed to be cold. The rice is most definitely not supposed to be cold and chewy.
Right. Should be room temperature. At its warmest, should be room temp. Alright, so rice is on. You can put seeds on now if you want. And I'll do that. This. Okay.
Why do you want the rice on fluffy instead of packed down when you're doing this?
Because even in the end of the process where we're shaping the roll, you're pressing. There's so much pressing involved. The rice can kind of take a beating throughout this whole thing, so it will just feel better.
Yeah,
in the mouth.
When I was starting, I would have a bad habit of pressing too hard, and chewy is kind of one way I put it.
Oh, okay. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's nice to be able to distinguish the grain of rice, especially with the rice we use, which is a short grain rice. Short grain rice is easily distinguishable in the mouth, unless it's packed down. Then it just feels like a sheet of rice. All right. So then now, what you'll do for the regular California, we'll put our crab stick down. We'll put the cucumber behind or in front. All right.
For me, I've kind of in hand shredded a little more this king crab, and I spread it out across the middle the way you would your spicy salmon, the way you would your tuna, and the way you would your crab stick.
So because it's a 3-ingredient roll, you're gonna have to make a decision to decide whether or not you're gonna use 3 pieces of avocado. I'm gonna just use 2. I don't think with the 3 ingredients I need 3 for this one. So, especially Christian, with the amount of crab and the cucumber, 2 will probably be enough for you.
I'm gonna go with 3 because I don't play by the rules.
All right.
Well,
Success. We'll see how successful it is.
sticky pieces.
That's it. That's it. I don't leave it right at that yet. Okay. So now let's roll it over.
Uh-oh.
3 may have been a mistake. You should listen to Jason.
To slowly go over, trying to just bring that edge of the rice to the edge of the nori. See the ingredients pop out.
Just take that one.
Yeah, take it out. All right.
So I was able to get everything in there, but not without more fight than you should really be doing.
You want it to be fun. Okay. Good. All right, so now we'll do, so if you notice that you have cucumbers hanging out like this, if it's not too bad, it's not too big of a deal. If they're hanging out a lot, just cut them off. And if you notice as you're rolling, that cucumber wants to come out of the seam, take that little cucumber out of there. It's literally going to destroy your roll. You want it out of there. So, and then we'll shake. Yeah.
Reminder, more pressure on the sides, not so much on the top.
Yep. Shove it in there. All right. Cut halfway. End to end. Keep end to end and cut side with cut side. And then we're gonna thirds. Cut it into thirds. And I guess they don't have to cut it into thirds. You don't have to cut it into thirds. If you wanted to cut this into 8, if you felt that this one little piece was too big, you could cut this into 8. Just cut it right down the middle and then quarter them from there. But here at the restaurant, we cut them into thirds.
I've seen someone cut it into 4. It was really weird.
4 pieces, pretty big.
What style of sushi roll is this?
So these are called ura makis. So ura, U-R-A maki, which translates to rice on the outside, basically. There's multiple variations of sushi. Well, some with the nori on the outside. We're not doing any of those today, but there's some with nori on the outside that are really small. Some that are rolled the big way, so they're really fat. But these are probably easiest to get 3 ingredients in.
Oh boy, we're already over there. Okay.
Good. All right, it's California rolled down.
California roll down.
All right. So next would be the mango roll. So for the mango roll, we'll get everything set up again because it is a 3-ingredient roll. So go ahead and prepare your avocado. Yep, cut it right down.
Fourth and final roll. And if you'd like to enjoy them as you go, feel free to pause the video, eat, and then come back.
Just peel it from.
Because the fresher the sushi, truly the better tasting.
You grab your cucumbers. Set that up right away. You have your asparagus. So this is all the green label, the green dots. So depending on what our asparagus looks like, when you get it, you might see like some smaller ones, or you might see like a big one. It will depend on what we have.
Do not dump out your mango salsa green dot onto your board. We'll save that for later.
This is going to be the topping, the mango salsa. Alright, so now we're moving on. Once you have all your ingredients.
Jason, what's in this rice that seasons it?
So it is a mixture of rice vinegar, sugar, salt. There's a little bit of kombu for added flavor, and a little bit of mirin, which is a sweet cooking sake. But essentially all rice, all sushi is seasoned with rice vinegar, sugar, and salt at least. So easiest things go down first. The more solid the ingredient is, it should go down first. So we'll put the asparagus down first. We'll put our cucumbers behind it. And then our avocados on top of that.
Now, are your tops of asparagus all facing the same way?
Nope, doesn't have to. I will, depending on the size of them, if there's some short ones, sometimes you get some that have like a woodier stem to them, and if you cut it down, you'll end up with a smaller piece. Just kind of arrange them so that it goes at least from end to end.
So it's cute in the middle.
Asparagus first.
Oh, asparagus.
Asparagus down. And then the cucumber behind it.
So the mango roll is a completely vegetarian roll, but it's not only enjoyed by vegetarians. And we wanted to show that sushi, while some people think it's simply raw fish, can be so much more than that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then if at any point you don't feel confident with the amount of ingredients inside of the roll, you can take it out. If you think you have too much cucumber, take it out. Or, take some out. Just so you know that you're going to be able to at least close it up and seal it. Very nice. Okay, we'll roll. So we'll roll over until the edge of the nori, or edge of the rice touches the nori. And then you can see some exposed nori that will guarantee you a good seal, like that.
Okay, I did it.
Go.
Last one. Sealed it.
Ingredient roll too.
Yep. Seeds would go on at this point, unless you did it earlier.
This is the first time this rice has stuck to my board, so I remembered to wet it now.
And then we'll shape.
You slice off the things hanging out at the end before you shape it?
If you can't, if they're hanging out a lot, yes. Let's see what you got.
I can maybe show them.
Yeah, I think you'd be okay with that. If asparagus was really long
Yeah.
and you had to cut it, sure. Cutting it off is not necessary.
Wet the knife. Run down. Carissa, you feel like your knife cuts are getting smoother?
They're just Yeah, it is getting easier. But it's just, I'm not cutting it straight up.
Remembering not to mash.
Mashy.
Okay, so if you have ingredients like that were hanging off the ends, you know, you could prop them upwards like that so that the ingredients, you know, they would push out anyways this way. So you can keep it like that. We're going to be covering the roll anyways, so you know, we'll put it in like so. And then that's going to eventually get topped with the mango.
So what's in the mango salsa?
Our mango salsa has chopped mangoes. There's chopped cucumbers, cilantro, red onion. There's a little bit of a kimchi seasoning in there.
So the roll we just made without the mango salsa is called AKA asparagus kappa, which roughly translates to cucumber and avocado. AKA. Now with mango salsa, it is officially a mango roll.
And if you probably have some avocado left. You could make another roll. You have rice left too. You have one more sheet of nori left.
Now we kind of finish our plating. Ginger and wasabi is optional. Don't mistake the wasabi for guacamole, as some people have done. What is wasabi?
Wasabi is a horseradish, a type of horseradish. So this is a horseradish. It's got some horseradish, some mustard in there, and the green color. So it's not a real wasabi. A real wasabi is difficult to grow. It's difficult to get. It's very expensive as well. So this is a regular powdered wasabi reconstituted.
We usually have true wasabi in-house if anybody ever asks.
Yes, but we normally have real wasabi in-house as well.
And we have ginger, pickled ginger, which is...
It's just, ginger that's pickled with vinegar, sugar, salt.
Can be used as a palate cleanser. Some people simply use it as a condiment on top.
Wow, that is fancy.
Let me see Carissa's.
I could mine all together so they would just stay together.
Another thing that you might see is the red ginger. Well, we're displaying here today. We also have ginger that has no dye added, so it's just going to be white. So you might see that as well. Good job, guys.
That's it?
It's that simple, guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we want you to dive in, eat it, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you had as much fun as we did.
That was fun.
Good job.
I'm applauding you because we know you
Good
did
job.
so good at home. Happy holidays.
Be honest.